I don't do what you guys do. The other thing is what I do. I'm going up the way you guys go across the street. Call out to your boy. Man, I do other things. What you guys do, I don't do. What you do, I don't do. I'm not a money watcher. I don't give a damn. All I do is what I do. The rap game has become much more chaotic. And Jim Jones is taking the loss this time. One of 50 Cent's G-Unit's most devoted troops, Tony Yayo, eventually exposed Jim in a way that had the entire internet mocking him after years of slick talk and ego trips. When Yayo decided he had had enough of the sarcastic frontman. What had begun as another one of Jim's tough guy interviews swiftly descended into a complete disgrace. This is how it transpired. During a recent podcast interview, Jim Jones began disparaging 50 Cent, claiming to be above past rivals and to be the true Harlem boss who never bowed to anyone. He made slights about Gunnett's lack of relevance and even said that 50 is still attractive solely because of television. Now, if you know Yayo, you are aware that he doesn't play with 50. Family is that, loyalty is that. And Yayo came out firing when Jim brought up the name of 50. Tony Yayo lost his temper in a furious live webcast. Using receipts and insider anecdotes, they calmly tore Jim to pieces without shouting or clowning. In the past, he was pleading with 54 features. But he remarked, Jim be talking like he is that dude. Declaring, don't let that tough talk fool you. That sentence, in a nutshell, classic. Many of you know me from the hood, but fans went crazy yelling, yo, he cooked him smooth. No cap. Thus, Bleak's business is not understood by those who observe him. They always give Jay a yeah look. You're talking about, yes? Jay isn't concerned. Jay doesn't have to go on tour with me. Smoke hard coke. Did you hear? Hey, relax. Hey, relax. It appears that you require medical attention and that you should visit the dentist. You should appear as though you need to brush your teeth. You appear to require personal hygiene. It appears that you need assistance. Request an ounce or anything from your man 50. I received a G for each hump on your face, so you could need 2 ounces. That's why he was worried about you being broke, I assure you. You know, I understand. What's going on? The bones. Hello, you? Flea. Hello? Where are the bones? Let me complete that. Nobody is looking after you over here, are they? B. No, you deserve it, because you're good, my darling. This man needs to be heard, because they are constantly worrying about who should take care of whom. We look after ourselves. It's not clear who looks after whom. You are aware of who is doing it. We ignited. We're making money. We look after everyone. We look out for one another. It's a fact. My G, however, I'm connecting with you again, Jim. Bro, we lost out on a lot of opportunities. But moving forward, we won't miss it. Bro, we have some pain to put together. Don't tell lies. Yayo also didn't stop there. He claimed that Jim was trying to be amicable with Gunnett while still disparaging them in private. Yayo claims that Jim used to approach 50's camp in an attempt to get on tours and songs. He also started talking slickly to make himself look huge again after it didn't work out. Simple and straightforward, Yayo called it out. Bro, you can't play this game as a phony loyalist. You're real or you're not. If there's one thing Yayo is known for, it's sticking by 50 through anything. So his statement struck a different chord. The industry, blackballing, the litigation, the beefs, everything. The streets were ablaze with excitement after he revealed Jim in such a way. People began to age. Video of Jim attempting to appear amicable with Gunnett following years of covert criticism. The humiliation truly started when fans said, Yayo, speaking facts. Jim has been moving funny for years. People began referring to Jim Harlan as the dipset politician and the largest flip-flopper when the meme went viral. Fans flooded Twitter with comments claiming that a military member, not a CEO, had just checked him, because it was made worse by that. Yayo didn't need to yell. Like a guy who has seen too much to lie, he confidently and calmly revealed Jim. We just returned from a tour. As I mentioned before, yes, you know, we're still torn after the 5th. I also give folks my own tours. Oh, yo. Hey, I did my own tours. You saw me. In Canada, I gave tours. I took a tour of the entire Germany and the Alps of Switzerland. I don't give a damn about the hate because I think I might be able to do my own tours. As in, something involving Memphis Bleak. According to Memphis Bleak. Yo remarked. I eat my own halo. Or Jay-Z didn't have us on tour like he did. I also eat my own halo. I recently finished my final tour, so if you want to say that to Memphis Bleak, I'm on my way. All I'm trying to say is that when you watch Jay-Z performing, like at a Beyoncé show or something, you never actually see Memphis Bleak on stage or being brought out. He's bringing me out. Even if I'm just playing the hype man with 50, I'm earning money. I'm leaving. That man-girl tour is that. That's all. A complete wife tour, that is? Yes, that is the entire wife tour. Thus, I think that if I were Ho-Hav, would bring Bleak out when he was alone. He didn't need to put Bleak in a position where they appeared to be asking whether this was the last tour you were referring to with the Cowboy Carter. Yes, in my opinion, Bleak is a loyal guy just like I consider myself to be. But one day when we're at TRL, I look at my guy like a fifth, and it's the young gun there. Yes, you don't have to worry about anything. You got 50. Jay-Z doesn't do anything for these guys like 50 does. Hervé says aloud while I'm speaking to him, and I believe he also worked with them. However, he told me that, and I've never forgotten it. May he rest in peace. Everything took off as soon as the video of Tony Yo's tirade appeared on social media. Fan pages, hip-hop blogs, and even some industry insiders began the internet was in a frenzy as many reposted it with the description, Yayo airing out Harlem's finest, while some supporters stood up for Jim, arguing that he deserved his seat. The rest of them were making fun of him. Yayo was claimed to have outstripped the alleged Harlem hustler, and Jim, who has centered his entire persona on being the most genuine, finds it to be a difficult look. You see, Tony Yo may not be releasing tunes that top the charts anymore. His reputation, however, has remained constant. He is regarded as one of the select few who have truly experienced the things he raps about. People pay attention to Yayo when he speaks because he avoids social media games and lies. And that's precisely why Jim was so affected by this. It was more than words. Receipts were the truth. Yo was honest on his live stream. Many fans who have long believed Jim acts tougher than his past indicates found resonance in his statement. I don't have any problem with Jim, but he has got to stop fronting like he is that guy. The same dude who used to ask us for connections is now talking like he runs the city. Stop it. I heard Tano say, "Ho, don't just look out for me. Look out for 50. Yes, that is what he stated. I simply want to make that apparent. You don't have to, okay? Do you understand? Okay, on my own, I'm chewing a lot. I promise to be up there if Ho looks out. That's the Blizzu budget when you guys see me out here. But let's get back to you. I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted to let you know that you don't have to." However, Yayo then mentions something that really hurt. The Locks versus battle against the Dipset. Jim Jones, who always boasted about being Harlem's general, was unable to save the squad that night. He said, "We all saw what happened at that verse. You all were unprepared. You all got embarrassed. Ain't no Harlem boss supposed to go out like that." That jab had people howling online because it was true. Dipet did get smoked by the Lukes in one of the most lopsided versus battles ever. Fans began to make connections. Since that loss, Jim has been working to restore his reputation. He chooses a new target every few months. Pusha T, Drake, Freddie Gibbs, or whoever is popular, but he targeted the wrong group this time. Gun's musical activity is less active, yet they still have high regard in the streets, particularly for Tony Yo, who is renowned for stating the truth without reservation. Jim tried to reply after the live video began to surface, but his enthusiasm was completely lacking. He attempted to dismiss it with a statement, "I ain't beefing with no washed rappers," but fans didn't buy it. They claimed that he sounded sour, as if he had recently been exposed and was unsure of how to bounce back. The damage had already been done when one fan wrote, "Yayo checks Jim like a big brother checks a loud nephew." Another fan added, "Generals get quiet when a soldier speaks." Jim's macho. Harlem Boss persona began to fall apart in a matter of hours. This is what sets me apart from others, isn't it? One of my all-time favorite rappers is Stack Bundles. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Rockfar, you get it? Stack Bundles belonged to Jim Jones. When I looked at it, I thought, wait, Stack's Bundles, who had a Porsche, was still in the hood. He had Max B. I don't mean to belittle Jim Jones. I was in Battery Park for the 5th. I could go barefoot out of that mother. Grab the sock. You see, that's when I fall in love with you. I'm going out there barefoot, but get the socks, sneakers, and Dior. You'll know they adore you then. Boy, because he is ensuring that you do not receive your split. Because you can return to 134 at any time. Get split, Brooklyn, basic. I got shot up after that. Bentley and so forth. You can purchase those sneakers. Throw that over there, please. It's official, my shit is my shit. Do you understand what I mean? Look, you, however, place me in a situation. And may Stack rest in peace. Unfortunately, Stack was slain while working on a Porsche project. Yes, come on. I'm from the neighborhood. I've been around the Black Justice and she's seen the P's and everything. She's seen the e-money bags and everything. The younger one is under that. Given all you've seen, is the Maserati Fox real? What would you alter then, based on everything you witnessed? Every time I leave the house, I simply say a prayer to God. However, what would you alter? What should be changed? I heard you talk about everything you've been through and are currently going through. Pastor C, brother, everything God has prepared for you is planned for you. God is already aware of your destiny. In life, God intended for you to come here and have a great time with all of you tonight. It was a scheme, that's all. When you come like that, Vlad, I don't like it. I mean, I'm on some Hollywood stuff. Like, stop talking about yourself. When you go, observe how it is. Here's the problem, though. It was more than simply words. Yo-Yo's call-out struck a deep chord since it revealed a genuine issue. The believability of Jim Jones. Jim has been acting like a street-certified legend for years. Always talking about going outside and being honest. However, Yayo reminded everyone that if your words and deeds don't match, reputation is meaningless. In his words, being real isn't about interviews and cameras. It's about consistency, and Jim isn't consistent. This sparked a larger discussion on social media regarding how rappers of the new generation prioritize appearance over morality. In the meantime, Jim has been accused for years of switching between groups and narratives. Fans began to say Yayo is one of the last of a dying breed, a man who's loyal to the game's original rules. Don't lie, don't switch, don't fake it. Yayo went so far as to remind everyone that Jim wasn't always this hustler from Harlem. He claimed to have been Cam's hype man at the time. Cam looked at him. Then, when times were difficult, he attempted to take charge. Everyone in the comments was raving about that sentence because it's true. Jim rode the Dipset wave to the top, coming up beneath Cameron. However, he recreated himself as the CEO of Bird Gang, as the crew began to disintegrate. Additionally, as he manufactured some, the street respect never kept up with the chatter, even with the hits along the way. The issue is that, although she mentioned on the show that she had heard that you weren't giving Stack money, people were unaware of this when Stack asked you for the bread. You had a bank visit planned? The bank was probably closed. When B and I talked about how I remembered being there and how you were going to give him more money after he spent it because we were on tour. Something happened. Geez, I'm Pop. He said, I spent all that tall money. I'm annoyed. In any case, he brought a BMW and another Porsche. He was like, yo, Pop, geez. You said, closed mouth don't get fed. Jeez. I'm Pop. Geez, I'm hurting. That's the truth. He said, yo, go get 25 grand from the bank tomorrow. I said, oh, yo, what's up with that Wrangler truck? I said I left that in Brooklyn. I don't even want that. I don't even know what blockers are. Matter of fact, it's by the car shop where I got the Maserati. He said, you let me get that G. Said, go take it. You probably have to get a new key. He said, oh, I'm going to get that tomorrow. Geez, you're different, Gez. Why do you believe people's perceptions of what happened are so different? Why even believe her? What makes you believe that? From where did that originate? I prefer to hear the truth. Since we were present, B is constantly angry, and he feels insulted. And among those who called me was he. He answered, that's not true. They believe that Stack asked you. He told you he wanted to leave. They said that Stack had expressed his want to leave. He requested to relocate, but you chose not to do so. However, that is untrue. You want to hear that story, but you don't want to, okay? In order to get Max and Melly an entire brownstone in New Jersey, Stacks and I were going to purchase Stacks. I was what I offered them because none of them wanted to leave the hood, and I didn't want to squander my money. Yes, we do recall LA base. I went shopping for this and all that kind of stuff. We recall that. Honor the B, we recall the discussion. I'm trying to get you out of the hood, and I'm like, yo, you bugging? You want to go to the hood every day, but you're going to live in Jersey like you're going to live better than you heard. And you don't have to worry about paying rent or anything like that. I'm just trying to get you out of the hood. Melly also got shot, right? I mean, none of these people would listen, and everything that I knew could happen in the hood ended up happening, and so on. I tried everything I could to protect them from what I knew could have happened to them. You heard from getting all of his cars to getting all these things. The internet doesn't forget. And once people smell weakness, they don't let it go. Even other rappers chimed in. A few OGs liked Yo's post. Subtle support that spoke volumes. Private jets in Miami cost hundreds of thousands in one weekend. 2 tall buses at the landing. Like I can't front on how I had my boys moving. And I'm only talking about this because you were there and you and Stacks were best friends. Bino and a couple others and like that. Other than that, I don't even talk to people about Stacks and what went on. The street began to say, Jim got exposed by someone who never even wanted clout. Jim has been known for years for running his mouth on everyone. From French Montana to Push It, always trying to stay relevant through drama. However, this time the blowback was brutal because Yo-Yo's reputation is clean. You can't call him a liar when everyone knows he's been a 50s day one soldier since before fame. The important distinction is that Yayo didn't need this moment. He wasn't pursuing views or features. He just wanted to correct the record, and in doing so, he didn't just make Jim look bad. He also reminded the entire culture what true loyalty and authenticity look like. Now, after all that drama, Jim has been working hard to repair the damage, but it's really too late. Tony Yo was declared the winner of this entire exchange by the internet. And to make matters worse, Yayo didn't even need to write a verse or release a diss track, he just told the truth. That's the kind of defeat you can't hide. Jim has been spotted posting pictures of himself wearing expensive clothing, flaunting jewelry, and claiming to be focused on his business. But fans aren't duped, and the comments are full of jokes and yo memes like you begged 50 for a feature. And Dipet hasn't recovered from that virus or this. It's gotten so bad that every new Jim post turns into a roast session. Even bloggers who usually defend him are staying quiet because there's no defense for what Yayo revealed. Meanwhile, Yo-Yo's been chilling, doing interviews, staying cool, and doubling down on his statements. He said, I don't have any hate for Jim. I simply speak the truth. Some of these rappers should quit behaving like celebrities while still relying on outdated hype. This struck more strongly because of that. He wasn't hateful. He was making Jim answerable. The fans are now focusing on the wider picture. They understand that Jim Jones' career was based on rhetoric rather than reality. He always finds someone to be angry at as he starts to fade. It is similar to clockwork. Begin a drama, let it trend for a week, then release a song and repeat. However, he chose the incorrect one this time. Clout is not something Tony Yo pursues. Loyalty is something he protects. And that's power of a different type. One thing is evident as the dust settles. Jim's reputation suffered greatly. You can wear as many luxury clothes as you like, but the shine won't matter if someone who has lived the code longer than you questions your integrity. Supporters are claiming that this is poetic retribution and calling it the end of phony Harlem energy, following all of Jim's smooth remarks over the years. In other words, Jim Jones was embarrassed by the truth as much as by a disc. He was shown for what he is by Tony Yayo, a chatty player in a game that still values loyalty and quiet. The most outrageous aspect was that Yayo had no desire to engage in combat. All he did was remind them that real knows real, reminding the self-proclaimed generals that not everyone is afraid to tell the truth, sometimes only just one street soldier. Because authenticity endures forever, even though a hip-hop image may sell records.